What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the Miracle on the Hudson, the full story.
I don't know what the Hudson is.
The Hudson River?
Oh, I do know what the Hudson is.
I'm going to say, the Hudson River. Yeah, you know.
I just get told what videos I'm doing. I don't get a backstory to what the video is.
Yeah, we don't discuss this one bit. Literally, it's kind of like a lot of the time, sometimes you'll put them on the list, I'll put them on the list, and then we'll just grab them. We'll sit down, click the link, and then the first time I read it out as a title, it's the first time you've heard it or I've heard it.
Yeah, so, because it didn't say river.
Just didn't know. Yeah, this is the Hudson River, I believe, anyway. The Miracle on the Hudson, it's linked with a plane.
Okay.
I want to think it's... There was that movie, which I haven't seen, but they were on about it at work actually the other day. I think it's Sully or something like that, where the pilot landed upside down, but I don't think that was on the river.
Okay.
But then I know there was something which happened on the Hudson, something else. So it's going to be either the something else or the upside down thing. But I think it's a miracle. It's a miracle. It says in the title. It's a miracle about a plane.
Okay.
And a landing, I think. Smash that if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button. We're going to learn something new here. I feel like I do know it. Okay. And I feel like it's going to... I've heard about it, and once it goes on to it, I'm going to click, if that makes sense. But that is a little bit too bright, so I'm going to turn that down when we get into it. But are you ready?
Yes.
Smash that button, smash that subscribe button. Let's get into the Miracle on the Hudson. What we got?
January 15th, 2009 may not be immediately recognisable as a remarkable date,
2009?
but the events that transpired
Not too long
certainly
ago.
were.
So we were 10. Oh, no, we were still 9.
Yeah, we were still
9. We were 10 that year.
That was the day a US Airways A320 crash-landed in the Hudson River. Thanks to the pilot's skills and response, all 150 passengers and crew survived.
Wow.
The event became known as the Miracle on the Hudson.
Yeah, it's not the one where it goes upside down.
What exactly happened that day? And how has it changed aviation and pilot training since?
Okay.
US Airways 1549, or Cactus 1549 according to its call sign, was scheduled to fly from LaGuardia, New York City to Charlotte, North Carolina on the afternoon of January 15th, 2009.
It didn't get far,
The flight
then.
was operated by an Airbus A320-214, registration November 106 Uniform Sierra, delivered new to US Airways in August 1999 and powered by 2 General Electric CFM56 engines.
My birth year.
In charge of the flight was Captain Chesley Sullenberger, well known by his nickname Sully, with First Officer Jeffrey
Or maybe it
Stiles.
is that Sully one.
Both of these men had
I'm
vast
so
amounts of
confused.
flying experience. A former military pilot, Captain Sullenberger had nearly 20,000 hours of flying at the time of the accident,
That's a lot.
including 4,756 hours on the A320. Jeffrey Stiles, meanwhile, was newly transferred to the type with only 37 hours on the A320, but still had accumulated over 20,000 flying hours in total during his career.
That's a lot of experience on that
Pre-flight
flight.
and initial takeoff run was normal. However, early in the climb, just under 3,000 feet and around 4.5 miles from LaGuardia, the aircraft hit a flock of Canada geese, significantly obscuring the pilot's windscreen view. Almost immediately, both engines shut down, but the aircraft continued climbing for a further 19 seconds. It then entered a glide descent as the pilots responded.
Oh, that must be so scary. Like, oh.
It really didn't go far.
Well, it didn't go for, but it's hit a flock of geese. They can't see. Or after 19 seconds.
How's it hit geese when it's going in the air?
Because they fly.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What? What? Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm thinking of sheep.
Wait, what? We should be laughing because it's like a proper serious video, but you've just confused a bird with a sheep. You're right.
Yeah.
You're Millie's pregnant, so you know that could have.
I don't know why. I'm just thinking in my head, like, why is there sheep in the sky?
No, geese, which obviously fly.
I get it.
Flock of them, which I'm surprised doesn't happen that often because they're flying all the time. Do you know what I mean? I suppose you're obviously trying to avoid a big plane, but that must be pretty scary if you're passengers on that plane.
Definitely. Or even the pilot trying to save all the light. Like, he knows everyone's going down with him.
Yeah, but at least I imagine for a pilot, you're trying to just stay in the thing. If you're a passenger and you've seen all these geese going to the engine, probably being rocket, you must like be petrified.
Out the window is not a good view, is it?
No, not a good view at all, but you must be petrified.
Sullenberger took control of the aircraft and started the Auxiliary Power Unit, or APU, since Stiles had flown the takeoff.
Okay.
While Stiles attempted to restart the engines. 22 seconds after the bird strike,
Okay.
Sollenberger made a mayday call, calmly reporting, "This is Cactus 1549, hit birds. We've lost thrust on both engines. We're turning back towards LaGuardia."
Wow.
Sollenberger
Just
initially
hit birds.
requested to return to LaGuardia, but the pilot soon realised this was not possible and requested landing options at Teterboro Airport, just a few miles west of Manhattan in New Jersey.
Okay.
They were cleared for an approach to runway 1, but quickly responded that they also could not make that and would end up in the Hudson. Closed-circuit television cameras and the air traffic control recording provide a clear picture of
Wow.
how the events unfolded, demonstrating the professionalism of the controllers and aircrew.
That was
After
smooth.
passing over the George Washington Bridge at just 900 feet, the aircraft ditched in the Hudson at 3:31 p.m. The flight had lasted just 5 minutes.
That is a
Wow.
mad
Such
5
an
minutes.
unpowered water landing is, of course, extremely dangerous, and the success of this justifies the event later being dubbed the Miracle on the Hudson.
Wow.
While manufacturers and regulators have procedures for water landings, or ditching as it's known, in practice these are rare occurrences. Passengers were evacuated onto the wings and the emergency slides. However, the evacuation was somewhat hampered by water entering the fuselage, caused by an open door at the rear of the cabin, as well as fuselage damage from landing. But
Oh,
by
I'm
chance,
assuming the crash opened the door, not it was open when we took off.
I'm guessing that.
Because that'd have been like an even more disaster, you know what I mean?
A320 aircraft was equipped for extended overwater use, meaning there was full life vest provision and the exit slides could detach to be used as rafts.
Okay,
Okay.
that's
The
good.
plane landed in the North River section of the Hudson, roughly in line with West 50th Street on the New York side and Weehawken on the New Jersey side. There were
That's
several
mad,
boats
innit?
close
Yeah.
to the ditching site which headed out to assist immediately. 2 New York waterway ferries were the first to arrive and immediately started taking passengers on board. Coast Guard and other ships were close behind, and emergency services quickly assembled on the shore. All passengers were removed from the plane and water by 3:55 p.m,
Wow.
just 24 minutes after ditching.
That is rapid, isn't
really
it?
quick.
Fair play.
Following the
Fair play
crash,
to everyone
there
who
was
came
a
and helped.
full National Transportation Safety Board investigation. Combing through all piloting and technical aspects of the incident and ditching, it subsequently made several recommendations for improvements.
Okay.
It determined that the probable cause of the incident was the ingestion of large birds into each engine, which resulted in an almost total loss of thrust in both engines. There were also extensive flight simulator reenactments of the flight. These focused on the possibility of returning to LaGuardia or diverting to Teterboro. An important issue here was pilot reaction and consideration time. Simulations with an immediate turn to an airport were partly successful,
I suppose
but
like
not
it's
so when
kind of got to be proven that they could not make it back.
Yeah, I guess.
Or it was not the safest option for them to head back. The safest option was just to.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, what you were just saying there, sometimes if it turned instantly, they could get back. It sounded like what you were saying there. So I don't think you can. You've got to allow time for, oh my god, a hit bird. Right, what we need to do. And
Yeah.
then, do you know what I mean? And then once that time
It's like reaction time. You've got to. People, if you instantly think we've hit birds, right, let's go, turn around straight away within like 2 seconds. That's not realistic.
That's not going to happen, definitely not, 'cause it rarely happens as well. And to be fair, I think the pilot did great. He said, right, can we land there? Got permission. Tried
Actually,
to. It was like,
we
I can't.
can't.
Can we land there? Got permission. Oh,
And also,
I can't.
like, he went for the river, so he didn't affect the land.
Yeah, no, I felt,
And I feel like
everyone's
actually
alive.
surviving that more than a plane crash on the like.
Oh, definitely. I don't think they're criticising. I think what we're trying to do, with everything, they're just over-analyse.
You just have to make sure they've done everything correctly to.
Not even that. I think they're not annoyed at a thing. They just need to overanalyze. So then, if it ever does happen again, someone knows, right, this has been overanalyzed. This is what I should do. Not having to figure it out as you go. Then it will be a case of I know what I need to do. If you know what I mean. If you take off from that airport, you hit birds, you know you need to turn right instantly because there's a 100% chance of landing. So, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I guess that's why they do this. I assume so, and they've got to do an investigation, obviously. But I don't think anything wrong with the pilot.
No, but I think they have to prove that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely.
They
But-
can't. They can't just say he didn't do anything wrong. They have to prove that he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. No, I get you. I get you.
Reaction delay was added. The investigation concluded that Sollenberger's decision was correct.
Fair play.
Starting the APU early proved vital in the later stages of the ditching, as it maintained power for all systems. Sollenberger did this immediately, whereas it was a later task in the checklist for dual engine failure.
Oh, wow.
Selecting flaps 2 instead of flaps 3 was also discussed and tested. This reduced drag and allowed for a better nose altitude on hitting the water. Ultimately, several factors came together to make the ditching successful or miraculous. As well as fast and appropriate action by the pilots and good weather and clear visibility on the day, an aircraft equipped for a water landing, fast reactions from the cabin crew, and the landing close to boats able to respond all contributed.
Wow, it worked out perfect then.
As
It's
is
like
usual following
perfect
such incidents,
disaster.
the investigation made recommendations for further safety improvements. The NTSB report made 34 such recommendations,
Okay.
but some highlights include changes to bird strike testing and engine certification. Of course, the A320 and the engines are tested for bird strikes and should be able to withstand even a serious multiple bird impact. Crucial here was the size of the birds.
Yeah,
Canada
geese are
geese
big.
are large, and the low speed of the aircraft.
They proper
The
hiss as
investigation
well.
found that at least 2 birds had been ingested into each
Wow.
engine, and their size had caused enough damage to prevent engine restart.
Poor geese.
Further work to
It's
develop and
unfortunate for
implement technologies on aircraft to reduce the
Unfortunate for them.
chances of
It
a bird
is.
strike.
What-
Introducing a checklist
Shouldn't be
for
flying into planes.
Definitely not. Let us know in the comments. Develop and implement aircraft technology to reduce chances of bird strikes. What could that be? Like, if a bird's going to be there, it's going to be there. And if you're taking it, surely you can't.
I feel like that's not a pilot problem. I feel like that's a bird problem.
Yeah, and maybe a screech to off button, but airplanes are
But
so
then
loud.
the thing is, if they just, you might not necessarily see them if they come up either.
Yeah, oh no, I don't think a pilot could do anything. If you're taking off, there's no way you're risking people's lives in jolting or something like that. Or there, if a bird just comes out of nowhere. So, what could the technology be? Let us know in the comments. It'd be interesting. Maybe the airports could have like technology to screech and what. I don't know. Planes are loud anyway.
It doesn't inhale them in.
I don't know how that'd happen though. You know what I mean? Let us know in the comments. It'd be interesting.
dual engine failure at low altitude. The original checklist was designed for high altitude where the crew would have more time.
Okay.
Many parts of the checklist were not relevant or in the wrong order for the situation.
Which is why it's a good thing he ignored it and did
to
it.
reflect the need to disable the ground proximity warning system on Airbus aircraft. This was left enabled in the ditching, so ground alerts overrode other alerts such as low speed warnings.
Ah, okay.
Changes to onboard safety equipment. This included the recommendation that all aircraft carry life vests and ensure adequate briefing on use regardless of route.
That seems important.
Yeah.
Everything
Some
just to have
internal
it.
redesign of the A318, A319, A320 and A321 to minimise the risk of certain beams intruding into the cabin.
Okay.
This had caused some injuries on ditching.
That's not good.
And finally, improvement in pilot training for a dual engine failure after takeoff and ditching without power.
Can,
That's a good one.
You
Can't
can
have
only be-
too much.
Exactly, you
In an
can only be
unusual
prepared.
twist, the airframe of this particular A320 has been preserved.
Okay.
Typically, after
Oh,
accidents,
wow.
the aircraft is
It's
often
massive.
badly damaged with limited future for the airframe after the investigation.
That's a mad
However,
sight,
the
isn't it?
damaged aircraft was removed from the Hudson on January 17th and transferred to Kearney, New Jersey for investigation.
Wow.
Following the investigation conclusion, it was put up for auction but was not purchased.
Okay.
Over 2 years later, in June 2011, it was donated to the Carolinas Aviation Museum by the American International Group, or AIG.
I mean, I like that it's gone to a museum because I suppose it's a massive thing, isn't it? A plane landing in the Hudson. Luckily, I mean,
And everyone's surviving.
everyone's surviving, which is absolutely awesome. But obviously, you mentioned about a few injuries. It's a bit of history there, isn't it? So to be able to see that at a museum, who would buy things like that? Though?
Why would you buy a broken plane?
Not even a broken plane. Who's going to store that? Where can you put it? It's huge.
Your back garden.
It's a pretty bad guy. I suppose if you've got the money to buy it, you've got a
If
back
you've got the
garden.
money to buy it, you've got somewhere to house it.
Yeah, definitely. But I do like that it has gone to a museum because then everyone can see it. It's a bit of history. We now know the story fully. I got a couple of things right, but I was completely off on the upside down bit. Maybe that's a different thing. I
Yeah.
think that's a different thing. But if you know the story, you can now see the actual plane what landed on the Hudson. That's quite mad, isn't it?
Here, it went on display along with more information about the incident and recordings of passenger and crew experiences.
Oh wow.
The water landing of US Airways 1549 remains one of the most incredible aviation stories in recent times. The pilot's quick thinking, especially over a dense metropolitan area,
Yeah.
averted
Could
an
have been
untold
bad.
tragedy, and the subsequent investigation yielded useful insight for future flight training. Where were you when you heard about Flight 1549? And what other incredible aviation stories would you like to see profiled next?
Let us know.
I'm sitting right here.
Yes, I mean, we were at the time. It was 2009, wasn't it?
We were 10.
So we were 10 at the time, and I don't.
Probably did hit news in the UK, but we didn't check the. We
Oh.
wouldn't have phones.
100% it hit the news in the UK, but at the end of the day, you're 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's one of them things where it's not talked about too often.
I feel like your parents would be like, "Guess what's happened to us?" Do you know
But
what I mean?
never might have even told us, but I don't remember half the
I
things
don't
when I was 13. Never mind, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't
You're not going to
that.
remember it when you're 10. And it's one of them things, I think the unfortunate thing is because everyone survives, it's not remembered, so you don't really talk about it as much, if that makes sense. So it's probably just got lost in being told about, unless someone goes, remember that time a plane landed on the Hudson, and then that's how you learn about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously with a disaster, because lives have been lost, like you remember it, and then it gets brought up, and that's how you learn about it, isn't it? Like I say, I knew a little bit, but it makes a good point with all skyscrapers. That's dangerous.
You couldn't really land anywhere else.
Couldn't land anywhere else. If he took a wrong turn and then he can't get off track, there's a lot of skyscrapers there, and that could have been a disaster, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Smash that like button if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. Let us know if you want us to check out any more of these stories. And what should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we will see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.